All right, y'all, big picture view of the New World and the New World Order, Columbus, Jesus, the church, all these things, so we can kind of have a better understanding of the brainwashing mechanism in America and how it's that test for that New Testament. And let's bring it into a perspective, okay? So if you've been following along and you know some of the numbers and these types of things, you may understand a little better and hear things a little better, but I'll try and bring some things in so y'all can get it a little more. But the Old Testament was translated before Jesus. The Old Testament is the same book that Jesus spoke against in the temples, in the religious institutions, in the synagogues, okay? So those are the same as today. We have the Old Testament and the New Testament. We have the old Roman Empire. We have the new Roman Empire, which is today. And that's why you have your Senate and all these things. So the Roman soldiers are the ones who killed Jesus on the cross. Okay? So this is where we can see the Roman soldiers, the Trump army, these types of things. They can come in and take out Biden. And that's where we can see that abomination of the desolation for that man standing in the holy place, where DeSantis, Rambo Trump or whatever kind of thing coming in, and Rambo Trump, and then they come in and do that type of scenario to replay that storm on the Capitol, all right? All right, so when you look at a big picture view, all right, the Roman Empire, the Roman Catholic Church, okay, that's the same church that Jesus was speaking against. And all the churches today, and whatever the word on the street is or whatever, right, the Catholics are that satanic temple, all right, according to the church and the Baptists and blah, 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 right? So all the churches, including the Baptists, came from the Catholics, all right? So if you go back, Roman Empire, Roman Catholic, Columbus, he comes over to the New World, all right? And that's in 1492, all right? And the printing press came out in 1440. So you have the books printed first, and then the New World comes. The Roman Catholic Church is there, and they're looking for a place to build this empire of the Judean nation, the seekers of salvation, the satanic nation. Okay, so the Bible is the satanic law book for the outward Jew and the inward Jew. And there's very little Jesus in there. This is where Paul's gospel is not the same as Jesus' gospel, and he's taking Jesus and he's making him the so-called Christ, when we are all the Christ. We are all the sons of God just as much as Jesus is, and that's that stealing the inheritance, where they're looking back to the garden. And this is where Paul, the Pharisee, Jesus is inside of all of us. So he's realizing who Jesus is, so he's coming out and creating an inward law, a spiritual bond on man. Okay? So as Paul is coming to create that new church, that new inward Jew, that new seeker of salvation, that way. And these people, the outward Jews, the seeker of salvation for this way, they have a clean versus unclean. You got to live this way, that way. You got to avoid. You got to live like this to have a perfect life, to live forever, and whatever else, right? So that's kind of what they're teaching of Jesus. But Jesus broke all the stuff on the Sabbath, it tells us. So that's why the Jews killed him for it. So the Jew is scattered among all nations by the Lord, by Satan, and they're worshiping the wood and stone. And the wood and stone is tied to the Cain and Abel, and tied to the dragon and the earth and those things. But and then the stone is the word with the one on it. So Old Testament, Jesus, Roman Empire, all right, going against the religious people. The scribes and Pharisees were the pastors, the religious people, all these things. Okay, so he's coming against all these people, telling them they're lame, which is basically retarded. He's calling them all types of names, all right? So they're being all offended in this time of offense. So this is where people the church is going to get pissed off at these people, and whatever kind of thing is happening now that you can see. And then you can see people using the sword against the people who use the sword against the people. So it's all there, folks. All right, so you got the Pilgrims coming over in 1620. That's after the 1611 version. Y'all need to understand this, because King James, that flaming homosexual, and all the things that churches have today is from homosexuals or whatever. All these things they worship, the Sistine Chapel, all this stuff, all right? So go back and do your history. But 1611 version, you got the Pilgrims coming over. They're starting this new world. They're going out and slaughtering all these fucking Indians. So, I mean, that's what it turns into. And it's a 66-day voyage. So the 6 times 6 is a 36, and that's the 666. But these pilgrims, these colonies are coming over. We're slaughtering Indians. We're that satanic nation. If you're not part of our tribe, we got to kill you. And that's kind of what's going on now with these immigrants and the Trojan horse and all this stuff that's going on now. So 1611, 1620 pilgrims. You got the first college. The first college is Harvard in 1636. Okay, and then you have the first school, which the Boston Latin School, the Tin Man, no heart. All right, and the English comes from Latin, and that was in 1635. 423, 1635. So you have the 423. That's 23 for 9/11, and the 24 for 2024. And then the 1635, the 35 is for the King Spirit year on the birth, and that's also the 8 for the infinity cycle, and so on, folks. But so the Law 10 is tied to the Mike Johnson for the mic drop and those things. And the law is also for the fulfillment of the law. And then the Boston, the boss is the Donald Trump. So just different layers of the matrix to put things together for you. And then the second college was a college of William and Mary. That's the dragon and the Mary. So the Lord says he scattered things upon the Jews through the wood and stone. The wood is that dragon. And that's the will. The wood is the will. And then it has the I am. And then we live in that time of Jesus where your name is I am so-and-so. I am so-and-so. All right? I am that I am. So as Jesus is in all of us, we're all saying I am. Okay, so this is where we're seeing these things play out, because Jesus is inside of all of us. We're all that begotten Son, but the key's been taken, the Son's been taken, the light's been taken. Okay? And this is where the blind's leading the blind. So then you have St. John's College for the third college. All right, second college is in 1693. Looking backwards, that's the 93 is the 999, and then 9 times, which is the 66 flip, and then 69 is the donkey number, and it's the 54, and you live in the 54 now for the 45 on the back side. And then you have 9 times 3 is a 27. 27 is the 27, the 77, which is when the King Spirit died, the year. But these are just different things on the matrix. But the St. John's College, the John the sign of his coming, is 1696. That's the 54 and 54 on there. So it would be a 5445 the way the numbers are, but that would be the Trump and the Trump, and that's the Don key number, and he has the keys to the pit, the Abad Don, and those things. But and then the Yale University, and then the Washington University. Those are the 5 schools. So looking back in time, Washington, that's the Georgia, and the COVID stuff with that thing, and then the Kings County and all that stuff. All right, so, and then you have the Yale, that's the 25L for the Jonah in the well, and the L is that new Hebrew God or whatever. But Hebrew is also a dead language before, when Jesus was walking the earth. Okay? The Hebrew we got today is a modern Hebrew. The Hebrew language was dead long before Jesus even walked. Okay? This is why he walked in Greek. He's in the Roman Empire, Latin, Aramaic, these types of languages. Okay? No one was speaking Greek, or no one was speaking Jew or Hebrew, whatever you call it. Because the Jew is a carnal nation. The religion we see as a Jew religion or whatever, that's all fake shit. That's all part of the world stage. Just like all your religions, they're all fake shit. And it's all part of the script for that new world order, for that new world and coming up as a nation of Satan is being built through the Bible, the Bel worship. The Bel worship is where you're treating like animals and treating like and thrown into cages, and the police is part of that Bel worship and those things, because either way, y'all, you'll see. So track back, Roman Empire, Jesus going against the Roman Empire, Jesus going against the religious texts, religious institutions back then, which is the Old Testament. That Old Testament is now transformed into a New Testament. You're a new type of Jew. You're a new type of religious person Jesus is against, okay? So if you're in the churches today, you're left behind. Jesus is coming inside of us, and the Jesus has blinded those and has deafened those, so they cannot see and cannot hear, because they've taken your key. Their Jesus that y'all are worshiping is out there. Jesus said he's in here. We are all the sons of God, but you're saying that's the Son of God. That's where Jesus is warning you that in end times you're going to have false teachers. The churches are going to teach that Jesus is the Christ. They will teach that I am Christ. That's teaching that Jesus is... We must pray in Jesus Christ's name. Jesus is the Christ. Blah, blah, blah. We can all see this building up all throughout things. So, we are all the Christ. We are all the bodies and members of the Christ. We are all Jesus when we're a positive light. We're all Satan. We are a negative light. So if you track back the first churches and all these things, these go along with 1492 Columbus. They come in, set up the Old Testament church in a way. All right, 1521, 1610, which is the 611, or 911 flip, and then the 1521 for the first church is the 2025. And then you got the 2 1s on there, so you got 2024, 2026, and these are all lining up to now, okay? Because we're getting rid of the church. Because the church age is over. We don't need the church to control man anymore. We're going into another type of control system, where God, man, is doing the controlling in a way. Whole new heaven and earth is being opened or here. So the old world is going to be consumed by fire. So Columbus, the Catholic, they found the new world where they can come in and set up this new system. They set up the old church per se, and then they bring in the new church. They bring in the pilgrims, the new world once the 1611 version comes out, and all these things. And then you got the nation of Satan at its rise now, and the dawn of time, the dawn of the ray of light of the blue and red flame, and all these things are coming to gather them for their war in hell, and then the new heaven and earth will be broken open after that. Okay, so we're gonna have to end it here because of time, But if you seek salvation, you're the Jew and you're that synagogue of Satan that Jesus is talking about in Revelation, of that candlestick that's burning in hell, that's all divided, that he's against and he hates, and so on and so on.